Hello, and thank you for tuning in again to Mike's Miniatures, the place for all things wargaming. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite faction, the Imperial Knights. Now, the Imperial Knights have a very rich lore and history within the 40k universe and such, and in this video, if I were to go into a more deep dive about it, we would be here for quite a while. So I'm just going to kind of give it a more simplified note here. The simple version is that for the lore and history of the Knights, is that they used to be construction slash farming equipment for the different colonies of the worlds that humanity settled in at the start of the whole galaxy expanding, through some tomfoolery of the chaos and worlds being cut off from Earth, and until the Emperor of Mankind, was able to go on his holy crusade with the Space Marines to go reclaim the galaxy for humanity. Along the way, they rediscovered the worlds with these mech suits of knights, and they became great allies to the Imperium of Man, all the way up until the Horus Heresy, where some of the knights betrayed the Emperor, but a majority of them did still remain loyal. And from there, that's where we get the two factions, the Imperial Knights and the Chaos Knights. Now, within the Imperial Knights, when you're creating this kind of an army, you could go one of two routes. You can go Imperial aligned or Mechanicus aligned. Mechanicus is basically the Imperial Knight houses who have closer ties to Mars and the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Adeptus Mechanicus basically made deals with those houses saying, hey, we'll get you some more supplies and more knowledge to upgrade your suits and things like that, better than the God Emperor, support Mars. And the Imperial are just regular, support the Imperium of Man. There's no wrong answer. It's really when you get your codex, and they are constantly being updated every couple of years, you can just see what kind of the bonuses you get being either a Mechanicus or an Imperial. I like Imperial for lore. That's what my army basically is. Now, there is a difference between, even when you pick Imperial or Mechanicus, there are knights who are still in their houses, an established house, or Freeblade. House is basically like a family or a guild or whatnot, that they are all have the same goal, same kind of battle stratagems, and that they have many. The main one that I play as is the Hawkshroud, House Hawkshroud, where they get bonuses on even when they get wounds. Their knight suits don't slow down. They can still do damage at the same strength level as if they had double the amount of wounds that they don't actually have. So each house does something different for the Imperial Knights that you use. Now, assuming you don't want to be a part of the house and you just want to buy a single knight, make it and paint it however you want, and you don't want it to be a part of any of these houses or Mechanicus or whatnot, a Freeblade is a really fun route to go. And with a Freeblade, this is when you see Imperial Knights who are allied with either an Imperial Guard army or a Space Marine army taken as like their heavy detachment. It's typically a Freeblade knight in the lore, and that's how a lot of people like to paint up their knights that way, or create a reason for that here. Now let's get into the types of knights. The first type of knight that we have are the Armiger. They are the smallest kind of knights that the Imperial Knight army can produce here. This is all loyalists. Now the Chaos have a list of other different types of Armigers that I'm not going to go into, because there's plenty to do with the loyalist here. This first one is the Warglaive, which is your close combat variant one. As you can see, they have the little chain sword arms on the one side, and then they have this melt-a-gun for the other one. There's a bigger knight that has something similar to this, and we'll talk about him. And a lot of these knights, on the top of them will have a carapace weapon, which is above the door where the knight will climb in to get in. They could have little meltas or basically a 50 caliber machine gun on the top of the warglaive here. And the next type of armiger here is the Helvrin. The Helvrin is very similar to the Warglaive. They're the same size in that, but instead of being close combat, they like shooting. So both of their armed weapons are these repeating Hellblaster cannons. They shoot a lot of shots, and they are very good for screening and pinning down your enemies in the position. It's really nice to have these. I have these in my army as well. Okay, now we're getting to the bread and butter of the Space Marine Army, the Questoris pattern Knights. There are multiple different patterns of this here, and thankfully, when you buy a kit from Games Workshop of the Imperial Knights, typically you can make all of these types of patterns just by swapping the arms, which is fantastic. So it's a little bit of a hard time and not really recommended for new hobbyists, but if you feel confident you can do it, if you can magnetize the arms, basically one knight, now you have every single type of Questoris knight. That could change in the upcoming 11th edition. As I'll get to here, because it sounds like we have another Questoris pattern knight that's been released, and there's rumors that they will make it to where there's 2 knight kits where you'll get some variants in one and other variants in another. But this first one is called the Preceptor. This is the one that works really well with your armigers. That's kind of the knight that is the teacher knight that corrals the little kids, kind of a deal. Typically, the Preceptor will have a close combat weapon with the Power Fist, or he could do with the chain sword in place of that arm. And on his right arm it's basically a laser cannon. It is fantastic and a very powerful weapon. And as you can see with this picture and from pictures earlier in the video, this is a named character, Canis Rex, who is a Knight Preceptor, and he has a little person that can come out if the suit were to get down to a certain number of wounds or die. The character then can come out and take hold of the objective, and you could help you stay in the game and or win the game. Another Questoris pattern is the Paladin. This is the most common that you'll see in a lot of lore and art. It's bristling with weapons and typically has the chainsword. However, he can also have the Power Fist. His gun on the other arm is the Repeater battle cannon, and it will have a kind of a bolter. Think of it as a 50 caliber gun right next to it. It's a little hard to see with the picture. And up in his shoulder, he will have either a Melta or a 50 caliber, and the shield that you see, the coat of arms, is also a shield projector for them. And the Preceptor has that as well, but they also get a laser instead of the 50 caliber Melta option. Alright, now here's the Knight Errant. This is similar to the Armiger Warglaive. Has the Melta gun in the hand, likes the chainsword, and is very, very much likes to get a little bit closer, whereas the Paladin is okay with being more of a mid-range. This one loves to take out tanks. Now the Warden is a fun one. This one's definitely anti-personnel, because its main gun is a gigantic Gatling cannon, and it shoots a lot of shots. It's just a fun one to have. Typically, it's depicted with a Power Fist as its close combat weapon. However, you can use a chainsword, and this variant also likes to have the top-mounted carapace weapon. The Paladin and Errant and that can also have these. They come with 3 different types. There's a rocket pod, a missile pod, and an anti-air double Gatling gun, kind of a deal that you could have on top. Each have their merits. I like taking the missiles because they get a little bit more shots and can spread it out a little bit easier that way, but there's really no wrong decision, and each codex you will get an update. And now we're at my favorite Questoris pattern. This is the one I've built and like to play with here, the Crusader pattern, Questoris. This one is nothing but shooting. As you can see, it has the Paladin's rapid-fire battle cannon and the Gatling gun in the arms, and likes to have a carapace weapon. This one is very, very shooty. It does not like to get close up, even though it can, because all the knights can go and step on enemy knights in combat, but this one's really liking to stay in the back and just shoot from afar. The rapid-fire battle cannon can be substituted with the Melta, like the Errant, but typically most people, myself included, like to take the rapid-fire battle cannon. And the Gallant is another one of our Questoris pattern knights, whereas the Crusader is all shooty, the Gallant is all stabby. This one loves to get in close combat and typically takes the most wounds out of all the Questoris pattern. Chainsword, fist, and typically a missile or rocket pod on top is how most people use them, with the bolter 50 cal light gun in the shoulder. Those are the only two ranged weapons he has. This one is your close combat fighter. Alright, now we're on to the Dominus pattern. This one was released back when I believe the 9th edition dropped is when they came out with it. It's slightly bigger than the Questoris, but not by much. Right now, as of today, at the dropping of this video, there are two patterns. This first one is the Castellan. This one's the shooty. It gives off Crusader vibes for me. It has the big old plasma laser gun in the one arm and a repeater battle cannon in the other. And as you can tell by they have carapace weapons for days. Meltas, bolt guns, anti-air, artillery, rockets. This thing's got it all. It's a walking fortress. And then we have the Valiant Dominus pattern. This one is the close combat variant of it. Still has all the carapace guns and rockets and missiles and such, but instead of big shooting weapons, it has a flamer, triple barrel flamer, and a harpoon gun that when it shoots and stabs into a vehicle or whatnot, it then zaps and is like a gigantic taser. Pretty fun, very narrative. I don't think it'd be that practical if this was actually a thing, but it is a very cool knight nonetheless. Now, within the last year or so, the Crastus pattern has been around quite a while, but it used to be a Forge World only model kit, so it was all in resin. But within the last couple years, 3 patterns of the knight have been finally given to us in plastic, so they're much easier to build and put together and are just all around fun. This first pattern is the Acheron. This one is the close combat, has a chainsword with flamer and melta guns. It likes to get semi-close but still be far. It's not the best out of the 3. It's probably the weakest out of the 3 with its weapon profile as of right now, but maybe in the new codex when it comes out it will improve slightly here for us. The next pattern is the Castigator. This one's very similar to the Warden. But instead of one Gatling gun, it has a double barrel Gatling gun and a power sword instead of a chain sword. And this one likes to get in close combat and is anti-infantry all the way. And this last pattern here is the Knight Lancer. This one is the big close combat one, and almost everybody that I know who loves knights and plays knights wants to get or has gotten one of these. It's got this gigantic energy shield and this powered lance that can just stab through heavy armor. This one's a killer of other knights and heavy battle equipment, tanks and things like that, and this is an awesome knight that everybody just loves to mess and play with. Typically you'll see a lot of knight armies will have 1 or 2 Questoris, maybe a Dominus, but almost everybody seems to be wanting to get the Lancer here. And then just a couple days ago, we have a new knight that was just announced by Games Workshop. This one's the Knight Defender. It has a few new weapons. It's still a Questoris pattern. Surprise, surprise. We're not getting a new pattern of knight, but hey, we got some new options here. Taking a look at it here, the biggest difference is its carapace weapon. On top, instead of having missiles or Gatling cannons or anything like that, it's got a shield generator, so it's going to be super tanky by the looks of it here. The void shield generator, we'll see how that looks in the new codex that's going to be coming out here within the next couple months, or a year, depending on how soon it can get to us here. It should be on pre-order pretty soon. Then, instead of the Melta or being a Dominus, it will have the Plasma Executor gun in the right hand, it looks like, and a Conversion Beam Obliterator is what it's called in the left hand. By the looks of it, it looks like it's just a gigantic plasma firing gun, and then some sort of, I would say, like an electricity shockwave gun, like a laser lightning gun. It looks really cool. It's probably one that when the kit comes out, I'm going to get, and yeah. And that's the Imperial Knights as of right now, at least on the Loyalist side. Like I said, this is my favorite faction so far. The only downside with this faction is just how expensive the kits are. A single knight is about $160-ish that you can expect to pay for it on average, depending on if you get it at your local game store or if you get it online through Amazon or whatnot. I believe that they are currently like $175 from Games Workshop, and typically it is still relatively new in the year 2025. Games Workshop loves to increase their prices around this year, so we'll see if it stays that way or if we're going to go up 5% or not, 5 to 20%. We'll see what they feel like they're going to do to us. But that's really it. Thank you so much for taking the time and listening to me ramble on about my favorite faction and the different patterns of knights. If you have questions or comments, please do so down in the comment section. Like the video and share it for those who have questions about the Imperial Knights and whatnot. And until next time, I will see you guys later.